Obviously, like there's times where I was sad or like frustrated, but for me, it was never like an option. Like obviously having the surgery was an option. I could have just stopped playing, but in my mind, like that just was not a thing at all.
Yeah.
Like there's no way I was going to do that. So it's like, it was just, I guess, my second nature to just be like, well, one day at a time, one step at a time, just get through the recovery and you'll be back. And thankfully I'm back and playing at a high level and we'll never have to have another surgery. What's up, y'all? This is Asjia O'Neal and here's the Sideline Show.
Go on and share a howdy. If we gonna bless this mood, we gonna have to get rowdy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? You are watching the Sideline Show. I am your host, Jackson Prince, and today I have a very special guest with me. She is arguably one of the top volleyball players in the country, and she is a player here at the University of Texas, Miss Asjia O'Neal. Asjia, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm great. Well, I want to thank you for coming on to the show and just spending a little bit of time with us today. You are, one of the premier athletes in the UT community. So it means a lot that you took time out of your busy schedule to be here. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. I'm always here to help.
Yeah, awesome. So the season's been going pretty well, right? How have you kind of adjusted to new team and, you lost some key players this year. So how are you feeling about this year's team?
Yeah, we definitely have a big growing year. We have a lot of young ones, a lot of new faces, and we lost a really big player in Logan Eggleston. So I've really been trying to come out of my shell and be that leader for the team. We're doing really well. We are top 5 team in the country right now. So we're trying to finish out conference really strong. And then the NCAA tournament is rapidly approaching.
Absolutely. So it's no secret, your kind of list of accolades is too long to even mention. For the viewers out there, they're not hard to find. You got a pretty long list. You've done pretty well for yourself here as a Texas Longhorn. So kind of talk about your experience being a Texas athlete from the moment you walked in to kind of this pinnacle that you're reaching now. Just kind of talk about that journey and what that's been like for you.
Yeah, my journey here has been a little different every single year. I came in as a number 2 recruit in the country. So obviously when you're ranked high, you expect to come in and play right away. I was immediately humbled and I redshirted. And that's obviously something that's super hard to kind of wrap your mind around for the beginning of it. But looking back on it, it really was the best thing for me. Because of that, I got a 6 year. So I got a COVID year and a redshirt year. And my first couple years here, I battled with some health issues and wasn't really able to fully play at my highest level. But then after having surgery, that third year, I guess my junior year, is really when I started to kind of hit my stride. We ended up losing the national championship that year, but every year after that, I've started to improve. I was like an honorable All-American honorable mention the first year and slowly made my way up to first team. And we won a natty. So it's really been a lot of trials and tribulations, but it's been a great process to sit back and kind of just dwell in and figure out how you can get through those tough times and end up accomplishing what you want. And then
yeah, no, for sure. And we're definitely going to talk more about that throughout the course of this episode. You won a national championship last year. Yeah. You're playing on a top 5 team this year, coming off of a national championship. For the viewers who really don't understand what it's like to win at that level, I haven't even won at that level yet. So just kind of talk about that. Enlighten us.
It's still crazy that we did it. I still have to pinch myself and remind myself, but it is definitely something that was way harder than I ever expected. Coming to a program like Texas, you expect, oh yeah, when I come through here, I'm definitely going to win one. But it took us 10 years. We won our first one in 2012. And then last year in 2022, we were able to get our second. And being able to stay consistent that long throughout the whole entire year was something that I didn't even understand how difficult that would be. But we were so bought in last year and the team culture was there. And I think that was the defining factor for that team. I'd been a part of 4 previous teams and it wasn't like we were more talented last year than before, but it was really just our work ethic and our team chemistry. And we all knew that we were there for one specific purpose. We didn't let individual accolades or desires or wants get in the way of the main goal. So really just being able to be a part of a team that was completely selfless was really the reason why we were able to end up winning.
Not for sure. For sure. So one thing that we've always been big on is culture. So obviously it takes a certain type of culture to win a national championship, especially in a sport that's as difficult as volleyball, which I didn't have a real appreciation for until I came here and I watched you guys play the first game of the season, and I was like, whoa, like, okay, this is obviously different than every volleyball game I've ever watched.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Y'all's games are lit, super lit. So talk about like the culture changes from team to team that led you to kind of winning that national championship this past year.
Yeah, so going into last season, we had lost 11 players. So we got in 11 new people, and we had some fifth-year transfers and then some freshmen that played some critical roles. So obviously you're getting people that have come from a lot of different backgrounds with a lot of different teams, and it's kind of hard to like gel immediately.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of discussions at the beginning of the year. Like a lot of people, that was their last go around. And up until like this time last year, I thought it was my last go around as well. So we all knew like, this is our last shot. We don't have any other opportunities to get it. So everyone just kind of left their egos and their pride at the door. And we knew like, if we want to win, we're going to have to like put everybody else before ourselves. So there wasn't like any people who were like, man, I want this award or this award or this award, like screw the rest of the games and screw the rest of the team. Like everyone was very much so bought in to making sure that whatever we did on or off the court was going to allow us to be playing at our highest level. And that was something that I really commend everybody on our team for doing, because that's not easy. Like everyone wants to get the glory, the fame, all the accolades, but especially at a place like Texas where everyone does so well. But Jared, our head coach, did a really good job putting people on this team that were selfless and were really hardworking, and we were able to do it.
No, that's awesome. And y'all did it in spectacular fashion too. So once again, just congratulations on that. Chasing after another one this year.
We are chasing after another one. Back to back is definitely very difficult. Everybody's been coming for us this year, without a doubt.
Yeah.
We've gotten humbled a couple times, but it's really cool just to have that and know like we finished at the top of the top last year and everyone's trying to come and get us. Before, I felt like we were the underdogs and we were trying to like claw our way back up to the top. So it's definitely a different type of pressure, but I enjoy pressure. I think if you don't have pressure, you're not good enough. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So It's a really fun experience this year, and it's really been a good test, especially for our younger girls who think like, oh, it's Texas, we can just come in here and like win a natty. Like that's clearly not how that works. So I think they finally started to understand like how much work we put in last year to get to that point, and our team is honestly going in a really good direction right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. So you mentioned pressure, and it's not a secret. It's widely publicized, your family pedigree. Your dad was a 7-time NBA All-Star.
I think six.
Six. I mean, he's Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's really, really talented NBA player. And your brother, really talented basketball player, class of 2025.
Yes.
And I know we're recruiting him, and he's being recruited by a lot of other schools. So you got a really athletic family. But you've been able to do something that a lot of other athletes who have big-time parents haven't been able to do. And that's being able to separate your name from theirs. So what does it mean to you that you're respected because of your hard work and your talent and the things that you've done in your career, as opposed to some people who, they're just put on a pedestal because of who their parents were? What does that mean to you?
It definitely means a lot. Earlier today, actually, I was on the phone with my parents, and they were saying how these people came up to them and were like, yeah, it's so cool. We love your daughter. And my dad's like, yeah, now it's always like, you're Asjia O'Neal's dad, not like, man, you're my daughter. So it's really cool to see that shift. When I first started playing, I would get so annoyed because people would be like, oh, that's Jermaine O'Neal's daughter. And I'm like, he doesn't even play volleyball. Like, there's no connection here. Like, why is that what we talk about all the time? Whether there's articles, they would always mention my dad first.
Yeah.
And I really used that to fuel me to push myself to be a better athlete and a better volleyball player, because like I knew all the work I was putting in, and I was like, it's not my dad's legacy. Like, this is me. This is what I want to make for myself. So being able to kind of shift that and have a name for myself is so incredible. And obviously it is nice to have someone like my dad who has such a big name to like kind of get my name out there and like start a buzz around it. So I am thankful for that, because that obviously helped a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's so nice that it is now Jermaine is Asjia O'Neal's dad and not the other way around.
Well, I mean, everyone in the country knows that it's like, that's Asjia O'Neal. That's not Jermaine's daughter. That's Asjia, and you've kind of carved out that reputation for yourself where it's like, you're one of the more fiery volleyball players I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen you get blocks and just, like in it. And I love that. And I know everyone else does too. So it's been really, and when I came down here and I saw your name on the roster, because I had heard about you, but I didn't really like know who you were like I do now.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, like dang, like Asjia O'Neal, like she's good. Like I came to that first game, and then someone was like, well, yeah, I mean, you know her brother, right? And I was like, who's the brother? And they were like, Jermaine. And I was like, wait, she's Jermaine's daughter? And they were like, yeah. So like that alone, and me being from Dallas, like you would think I'm supposed to know that.
Right.
But because of what you've been able to do, like I was lost. I didn't make that connection, maybe just because I'm slow or something. I don't know. But no, I mean, you've definitely done it for yourself. So I mean, that's huge, and that takes a lot. So real quick, kind of shifting gears a little bit, off the court, like who's Asjia? Like, what do you like to do? Like, who are you?
That question always gets me. That's a tough question for athletes.
Yeah.
I am definitely more laid back and chill person. Like you said, on the court, I'm very fiery and aggressive. That's when it comes out of me. But off the court, I'm pretty chill. During my free time, I love listening to music. I'm a big music girl.
Who do you like?
Well, Drake's on my shirt. So Drake is one of my favorite artists. But I'm more of like a Drake, Gunna, SZA, Brent Faiyaz. Those are my
That's
vibes.
a vibe. That's a vibe. I like that.
But love traveling. Obviously, with volleyball, it's kind of hard. But this summer, I got to travel a lot, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, really, music, traveling, and fashion are kind of my biggest interests.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Traveling, that's dope. Because I know for me growing up, like with basketball, traveling comes because of basketball. You don't get to travel just like because whatever.
Yeah.
So non-volleyball trips, where's your favorite place that you could snap your fingers and go back to right now?
I think it depends on the vibe. I love going to Vegas. Like, my parents are big Vegas people. My parents are
Really?
approaching their 50s. Obviously, they're older, but they go to Vegas all the time. So, like, I grew up going to Vegas. Our summer house is in Vegas. So now that I'm 24 now. So since I've been of age, like, I've gone there a couple times, gone out. It's a great vibe, great shopping, great food.
That's
love
dope.
going out. But for relaxing, I would say either the Bahamas or Turks. I like being on the beach.
That Bahamas is a good pick.
Yeah.
So I went to the Bahamas my senior year of high school with Duncanville.
Yeah.
Nah, that was like really, really weird. Like high school basketball, that wasn't like a thing a few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mess with the Bahamas a lot. So like when you do travel, are you more laid back, or are you the type to like really go and see what that place is about? What's your go-to?
I definitely like to do more. I don't really like to just lay around and chill. I feel like if I'm paying to be on this vacation, I need to get something out of it. Like, obviously you can relax and have your time, but I'm also an itinerary type of girl, so I will make an itinerary. So I'm definitely more go.
Yeah, for sure. So you are kind of someone that a lot of people look up to, and it's not just because of, your athletic success and all of those things. Talk about briefly kind of your story as far as like the medical history and the mindset necessary for you to really push past all the things that you've been through.
Yeah, so it's kind of a long story, but briefly, I had 2 open heart surgeries. So when I was born, they found out that I had a heart murmur and a leak in my mitral valve. So every year I would go to the cardiologist, get checkups, everything was cool. Then my first year playing volleyball is when I found out I'd have to have my first surgery. The leak had gone too big, so they went in, put a ring on the valve, and then basically they said I was good to go once I was cleared, whatever. Went through high school, still had issues, would get lightheaded, dizzy, fainting, chest pain, stuff like that. Couldn't really exert myself as much as my friends did, and I just kind of thought like that was just going to be my normal forever. Got to college. Obviously, as you know, college workouts are crazy. Like, you think you're prepared, but you're never really prepared. Like,
I know that's right.
And you will never be prepared until you graduate. Right. So I was struggling for sure. And obviously, like, college athletics, it's really intense environment. So you don't want to say you don't feel well. You don't want to say you can't compete, because you're just trying to do your hardest. You want to win. You want to play, whatever. So I was clearly like not doing well. And my freshman spring, I went to my cardiologist here in Austin, and he basically was just like, yeah, so the leak in your valve is worse. You're quitting volleyball. You can't play anymore. Obviously I heard that, and I was like, what? It's like, I'm with my trainer, who I'm not really close with. So I'm like, my parents aren't even here. Like, what's going on? I'm like 19 years old. Don't really know what he just told me, like, whatever. So the next like 6 months, we went through different doctors. Thankfully, like my dad playing for so long had a lot of connections, and we ended up at the Cleveland Clinic, and they have a lot of sports medicine doctors over there too, and sports cardiologists. So they cleared me to play for the upcoming season, and that was my redshirt freshman season. So I was actually going to be on the court. Was having a lot of issues, was getting pulled in and out of practice, like not able to compete. We have like our heart rate stuff on, and everyone else would be at like 130, 140, and I'm at like 195. Like it was really rough. It was really frustrating because I'm a competitor. I want to do my best, and I wasn't able to like push myself, and clearly I'm trying. So that was really hard. And then around like October in that season, found out I was gonna have to have surgery because the leak in the valve came back, and then in my tricuspid valve, there was another leak. So it was 2 valves that had a leakage. And basically, because I'd grown from my first surgery, the ring was too small. So they went in, repaired that. And basically, my cardiovascular system was functioning at like 50% because with the leaking valves, your blood's going the opposite way through your heart. So your heart's working overtime. So it's just like a bad combination. But obviously, went through that surgery. January of 2020, COVID came, so I finished my rehab in COVID. And my doctor, one thing that really stuck with me that he said was, you're not going to realize how bad you felt until you're back out there. And obviously I knew I was going to feel better, but like my first workout back, it was like a sand workout, like sprints and agility, because we always do that for some reason.
First workout back, that's
from COVID. Yeah.
That's COVID and then the heart surgery and things like it's
sand.
Tough to do a sand workout when you're healthy.
Right.
That's rough.
Yeah, my anxiety was on 1,000 getting ready for that workout. But I got through the whole thing, and I did so well. And I literally called my mom and was like crying. So I was like, "There's no way everyone else felt like this the whole entire time, and I didn't." So
wow,
it was a very crazy experience. And every time people ask me like, "Well, how'd you get through that? Like, how'd you deal with it?" Obviously, like there's times where I was sad or like frustrated, but for me, it was never like an option. Like obviously, having the surgery was an option. I could have just stopped playing, but in my mind, like that just was not a thing at all. Yeah. Like there's just no way I was going to do that. So it's like, it was just, I guess, my second nature to just be like, well, one day at a time, one step at a time, just get through the recovery and you'll be back. And thankfully I'm back and playing at a high level and we'll never have to have another surgery.
I mean, playing at the highest level.
Right.
I mean, you're the epitome of getting back up. So I mean, that's really just awesome to see. And it inspires me kind of hearing that story. Me being new to college athletics and everything, I don't know what's going to happen during my time here. But I know that in the event that something happens, I can always look at Asjia O'Neal and bounce back from it. Sweet, so no, I mean, and it's not just me, it's millions across the country and across the world who have seen that story. So, I mean, that's awesome that you really bounced back. So I know a lot of people kind of ask you like, what got you through it? I want to ask like, who got you through it?
Both my parents were very supportive throughout that whole experience, and my parents have a really good relationship with me and how they parent me. My mom's definitely the more comforting one, and then I don't know if you met my dad, but my dad's a pretty intense guy.
Very, very intense man.
Very intense.
I like him though.
Yeah, love him to death. But he was definitely the one that was pushing me to get up out of the hospital bed. Like the sooner you walk around, the sooner you can get out. So I'm like with my walker, like trudging along around the floor, like crying because I'm in pain. He's like, "No, you got to get up." Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but you got to get up. You can't sit in the bed. So he really helped me and was like the stern one in that whole entire recovery. But having someone who's accomplished all that he wanted to accomplish at such a high level, it's really nice to have that person push you because he gets like what it takes to be the best of the best. So having my dad there with me to really be that stern, aggressive figure to keep me going and keep me motivated was really nice. And then at the end of the day, I'd have my mom to like, console me and be there for me. But both my parents were really helpful in that whole process. For
sure. So I know this is years away, but kind of like in your parenting style, who do you think you're going to take more after, your mom or your dad? Or is it going to be a healthy mix?
Hopefully a healthy mix. I think personality wise, I'm closer to I'm a more relaxed version of my dad. But when I'm like annoyed or upset, I'm definitely more my dad. My mom's kind of more passive and my dad's a little more aggressive. So maybe I'm like right in the middle.
Right in the middle. That's where you want to be.
Yeah. There. I think hopefully I'm in the middle of the two. I don't want to be too far one way or the other.
Yeah. No, that's good though. And me knowing you personally, obviously you're super laid back. So it's like, think we're good for a little while.
Right.
So outside of sport, off the court, a huge thing that we talk about on this podcast is developing a personal brand and the importance of knowing, one, who you are, and then knowing how to share that with the world, so that way you open up more opportunities for yourself and for those around you. So talk about like you being Asjia O'Neal the person and not you being Asjia O'Neal the volleyball player.
Yeah, that's something that throughout my last couple years of college, I've really tried to do a lot on my social media and kind of show people like who I am, because like you said, most people just know you as an athlete. And I think the first thing that really started that for me was during 2020, during George Floyd and all the protests. I was really active and vocal about my thoughts and my opinions on my social media. And once I realized that people really respected that and took a strong liking to that, I felt like I started to kind of express myself more, whether it's my likes or my interests or just who I am as a person. Like I would try to post more things that showed my personality, whether it's on like TikTok or Instagram or like getting on live or interacting with people. And I think that is something that's really important because people see me playing and like have no idea what my personality is. A lot of people that I've met, they're like, yeah, when I saw you on the court, I thought you'd be so rude and just such an aggressive person, but you're so sweet. And I'm like, wow.
I'm not going to lie to you. I thought the same.
That's crazy.
Because of how much of a competitor you are, because I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking trash. I'm in your face. Like when I'm in that moment and you're in that moment, you're not the same person.
Yeah.
So, it's been cool to kind of like see you off the court too. And it's like, whoa, like she's
very different,
polar opposite.
I'm very sweet, very chill, very relaxed, but just really trying to interact with fans and people on social media, I think has been a good way for me to kind of portray who I am outside of volleyball. Yeah.
So kind of touching on that, like you have this personal brand built for yourself. Once you get that brand, how important is like the community and like actually engaging with those who engage with you?
It's really important. And that's something that I've kind of had to learn to realize. There's obviously so many interactions that you get on a daily basis online or in person, and you kind of take them for granted because you're like, oh, X amount of people are interacting with my post, or X amount of people are coming up to me in person and whatever. Like you just think it's cool and you just kind of brush it off. But it's really important to kind of keep that engagement with the people that support you and appreciate you, because it shows them that like you genuinely care about their support for you. So I think it's a really good like 50-50 relationship that you have to always keep in touch with, because at the end of the day, like your brand is only going to go as far as the people that are aware of it and people that want to invest in it.
Absolutely. So for someone who is striving to kind of build that personal brand, maybe they only have 1,000 followers on Instagram and they don't know where to start. What kind of advice would you give that person?
Yeah, I would say if you're an athlete or whatever, just start posting things that really represent you. So if you like fashion, then maybe you could just make like a reel of you trying on some fits that you would wear, like, I don't know, going to a concert, things like that. And then try to really engage with people that engage with your content. Or if you follow people that post similar things that you like, maybe getting in contact with them or reaching and seeing the people that are their fans and their followers and trying to drive that over to your platforms. But really just putting yourself out there, and the more you put yourself out there, the more people are going to want to see you and see your content.
Yeah, for sure. And this is something that I really harp on in this podcast and when I'm just talking to people in general, is like, if you never talk to anyone, you're never going to take that next step up that ladder, right? I mean, part of the reason that I'm here is because, I went to Duncanville, which like had that big brand, but I tried to use the big brand that Duncanville had to elevate me so I could get seen more, and that is a huge reason why I'm doing this podcast is because one, I want to learn what people like you are doing. And I also want to kind of show that to all of the viewers who are really interested in like, okay, well, I'm a high school athlete. I'm a freshman in college. I understand personal branding is probably important, but how do I actually develop that?
Right.
And it's very interesting to see, like, you've always had big athletic success, but even now you're saying similar things that I've talked to a lot of different people, and they're like, yeah, no, like you got to engage with that community. So part of the community that we're in, Texas Longhorns, right, in Austin.
Yeah.
What does the city of Austin really mean to you?
The city of Austin is a great place. I feel like I've grown into a woman here. I got here at 18 and I'm leaving at 24. So I've spent a significant portion of my life here.
Yeah, that's a chunk.
Yeah, very, very large chunk. But just lately, since I know I'm on my way out, I have a couple weeks left. I've been driving around the city just thinking about all the memories and all the times that I've spent here. Our fan base here is incredible, whether it's volleyball fans specifically or just Longhorn fans in general. Like, they are true ride or dies and will support you no matter what. So it's been so incredible being here. I loved Austin. I'm glad that I came here. I always wanted to be in a college town that was like a big city but not too big. So I feel like Austin is a perfect place for that because there's so much to offer here, but you're not in a city where you're going to get like lost and it's too much.
Right.
So I've just loved my time here, and I'm really sad that it's coming to a close, but it definitely has helped raise me into the 24-year-old Asjia now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So me and you both are from Dallas, and I kind of want to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
In comparison, how would you compare Austin to Dallas?
They're very different. Like, I sometimes don't feel like I'm in Texas when I'm here. It's like, I'm from Portland. I was born in Portland.
Right.
Because my dad was drafted there. My parents met there. And Portland and Austin are very similar. They're like very kind of like hippie, liberal vibes.
Yeah.
In a good way, but I would say they're really similar. Obviously, there's more of like a southern flair here because we're in Texas, but Dallas and Austin are like polar opposites to me. I don't know.
I think that, I don't know, from top to bottom, I think that Austin is a much younger version of Dallas.
That's true, yeah.
I think Dallas is kind of like that older vibe.
Yeah.
But I kind of look at it like, I got like an entrepreneurial mindset. So
yeah.
I'm like, new business is here in Austin, but
Right.
old business is up in Dallas.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of look at it like that, but I was just kind of wondering what your thoughts on that were.
Yeah.
Since we're both from similar areas. Right. How long did you live in Dallas?
I moved there in 2012. So
Okay, so you were there for a good little minute.
Yeah, like 6 years before I came down here.
South Lake Carroll, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all right. It's all right. I love you. I love you just as much. It's all right.
Oh, man.
So, you know, we kind of talked about that personal branding piece, and now in the world that we live in, you can make money off of your personal brand as a college athlete. And you were in college when this whole NIL thing happened.
Yeah.
So talk about before and after, kind of what that looked like. And then I want you to talk about what it's done for you as Asjia O'Neal.
Yeah, so before NIL, it was obviously a very different era. We weren't making money off anything. We couldn't do any camps with our names, or there's just, everything was very limited, obviously, as you know. So it was really just volleyball, school, that was it. And then right when NIL was passed, it was like a wildfire. Like, it was so crazy. So many people were just reaching out about like random deals. It was kind of hard to figure out what was legit, what wasn't, like what's worth your time. And obviously at the beginning, most people were just kind of like saying yes to most things that fall into their lap because it's like, sure, money, okay.
Money, yeah.
Yeah. So the first couple months were pretty crazy. But now, obviously, it's calmed down a lot. And I'm honestly very glad that it came to pass because there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to profit off of ourselves. Like, it's ourselves. So
Absolutely.
I don't know why we wouldn't have ownership over our image and likeness. But NIL has been really cool and has kind of allowed me to see like different types of avenues that I would want to be in. Recently, I did, I think with Postmates, and that was my first like real shoot with the whole crew and staff, and it was really cool and I really enjoyed it, and it kind of made me think, this is something that I might want to do more often. But it's been really fun to just figure out like what you do and don't like and types of businesses that you want to align yourself with, learning how to read contracts and negotiate, and post volleyball I want to be an agent. So like it's been a good kind of, you know, test run for me to see how things are and how things like that go. But it's been really cool to see the change from pre-NIL to right when it got passed to now.
No, that's awesome. And you actually touched on a little bit of what I was talking about, like the skills that you need to navigate through NIL, like that lasts the rest of your life.
For sure, yeah.
And you kind of, you said it too. Why wouldn't we have ownership and be able to monetize off of our image and likeness? And now kind of the pushback on that is, well, is amateurism still, is that still necessary?
Yeah.
Kind of what are your thoughts on like amateurism? Like, should athletes be paid to play, or should they just get paid off their personal brands? What side of the line do you lie on?
You know, I think that's such a loaded question because obviously different sports generate different types of things for universities.
Absolutely.
So do I think we should get like a monthly check in the same way that like a regular working person would get? Maybe not, but for like men's basketball and football, who are really generating an insane amount of revenue for schools, in my mind, it doesn't make sense for them to not profit somehow off of that. So like, I don't know in a perfect world how that would work.
Right.
But
well, because the way I see it is like, if you do it percentage based, basketball generates more revenue than volleyball.
Right.
So if as a percentage, there's a chance that I'm making more money than you.
Right.
But me, you, and all the viewers can agree on that you are a superior athlete to me. It's sport to sport, right? You're top echelon. I'm not, and that's fine. So, like and I'm with you on the whole amateurism thing.
Yeah.
Is because like, how would that even work?
Yeah.
So I just I was reading some things. Kind of being talked about and stuff, and just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that, because I think it's interesting to kind of hear the athlete's perspective.
Yeah.
So kind of talked about it with the Postmates thing, like the success that you've kind of seen in NIL, the fun that you've had with it. What deals have really stood out to you? Like, what's been like one of your favorite deals that you've done, just objectively?
I would say the Postmates one, because it was so hands-on. Like, a lot of people just want to do deals and kind of just throw money at you to like make a post on Instagram. Like, that's it, you know? But I liked that the Postmates was so interactive. It was a whole set and crew, and like, it was a couple hours of actually sitting behind the camera and reading lines and doing things like that. So I thought that was really cool. But I also worked with Degree. 2 years ago it started, and we did another one last year, but they basically did a Breaking Limits campaign where they highlighted different athletes who had like interesting pivotal stories or pivotal moments in their lives and how they overcame adversity. I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously I talked about my story, but being able to see other athletes who went through similar things, I thought that was really fun. And it was more than just like, oh, I'm going to post this picture so you can give me cash, like I think there's more substance to the deal.
Well, I've had people approach me about doing deals where it's like one Instagram post for this amount of money. And what I try to negotiate is like longer term things,
Right.
Because I want to build partnerships. Right. I don't want to just do one-off deals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
and
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you see that, the value of like being in a consistent brand. And I mean, Degree, Postmates, like these are like bigger corporate players that you're going to do continuous deals with.
Right.
So we've talked about kind of your favorite deals that you've done. Is there a particular deal, company, brand that you really want to do one with?
I definitely want to do something with like an apparel brand. Obviously, like Nike's like the upper echelon. Like everyone wants Nike.
Everyone.
But I think something that would be really cool is Lululemon. I think they have a very distinct target audience and demographic that they go for. So I think branching out for them would be really cool. And I don't think, when you think of Lululemon, I don't think I'm the person that you would think that would be wearing it, just generally.
I mean, yeah. I guess not.
Yeah. So I think it would be fun to do that. Really, any athleisure brand I think would be cool. But
no, that's awesome. I had IT in here last week, and he said he wanted to do a sports tech company.
Oh.
Yeah. So I like asking athletes this question because it really tells me a lot about like who they are. And you said fashion was a big thing for you. So kind of that athleisure wear. And that's something that you would be amazing at rocking. So, no, I mean, hopefully Lululemon makes that happen.
Please.
So maybe this podcast will be maybe it'll be the reason why it happens.
Right.
One can hope. So based on where NIL is right now and how much it's changed since its conception, what are some changes that you would like to see in the NIL landscape?
I would just say for non-revenue generating sports, more opportunities for them. Obviously, I know the business world is going to go for the top of the top, and makes sense. It's understandable.
Right.
Like, I get it. But I think volleyball is doing really well for itself, and also women's basketball. But I think there could be even more opportunities. I know that women in the NIL space are really dominating right now, or starting to, which is great. And I love that, especially like with Angel Reese, like she skyrocketed last year. But really just continuing to see more women play major roles in NIL and get those opportunities that men get, because women's sports is obviously starting to take off. So I think if our opportunities continue to take off in the same way men do, it would be great.
No, absolutely. And like women's sports is really on the upswing. And it's super fun to watch because me being a guy, I'm thinking like, okay, like men's basketball, how can I capitalize on men's basketball? But for me personally, developing my personal brand, I was looking at like research that I had done in the past of like how other athletes did it. The most success stories I've seen were from women. And like, that's really cool to see. And as I was doing my due diligence on you before this, I was like, man, like it's actually really fascinating to see the growth that women have done in personal branding when it comes to collegiate athletics.
Right.
And it's really fun to watch. So, I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. And I mean, a lot of that is following you, you know, the inspiration that you've given to little girls and things. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch. Kind of talking about that, the inspiration piece is little girls out there who look up to you and kind of want to be you when they grow up. I mean, what would you say to a little girl who's sitting right here?
I would say just be comfortable in being authentically you, especially when you're younger. I think it's really hard to kind of find yourself and not, you know, want to go with the trends or act a certain way that you see other people acting, but just really being comfortable in who you are. Growing up playing volleyball, it was nowhere near as diverse as it is now. And it was really hard for me to find people that looked like me or acted like me on the court. And I kind of pushed myself into a little mold that wasn't really me. And it wasn't until I got here that I felt like I could truly be myself on the court and be rah and act crazy and do whatever I do. So really just be yourself and not be scared to do that, because you're going to play your best and you're going to feel your best when you are just unapologetically being you. And that's going to get you way farther than it being this certain mold that you think you have to be. Man,
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Now, this question just popped in my mind, but I do have to ask you.
Okay.
You didn't want to play basketball?
No. Well, okay. This summer going to 6th grade, I was like, Dad, I'm going to try out for the basketball team next year. Can you train me the whole summer? Like, I want to lock in. I want to be good. And he did. We would be in the garage. We had a little hoop in there. He was coaching me up. I was like lifting every day. Like, I don't know. I was in 6th grade, so I don't even know why I was doing all this. But I was locked in, and I was so excited. I felt so confident in my abilities. I went to tryouts the first day, and I did pretty well. But I got home, and I was like, I'm not going back tomorrow. I don't like this. Like, this is not for me. I don't want to do this. And it's really weird because I would say basketball is my favorite sport to watch besides volleyball. Maybe more than volleyball. I don't know. They're really close. But I just didn't like playing it. And I don't know if it's because I wanted something on my own, and I was just still, like, my dad was still playing at that time. So I was just around basketball a lot. So I don't know if it was just that wasn't for me, or just God talked to me in the back of my mind, like, Asjia, this is not going to be your thing. Volleyball is going to be your thing. But I tried it, and after that one day, I did not go back. Wow. And I have not played basketball since.
That's actually really funny. Like, I was thinking about this earlier in the week because I was like, her dad played in the NBA. Her brother plays basketball. It must have taken a lot of guts for you to be like, nah, like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
So, like, what did your mom say when you were like, I'm not going to play basketball. I'm going to go do my own thing?
They thought it was funny, honestly. I grew up doing a lot of dance. That was kind of my
thing.
I wouldn't say I'm a dancer at all. Like, I would not go dance in front of people currently, but I was more into like artsy type things. So my dad honestly didn't really care that much. He wasn't that bothered by it. And he was like, okay, like, do whatever you want to do. I played soccer. Like most kids play soccer. I wasn't great at it, but I stayed active. I tried out a lot of different things, but my parents were just kind of like, okay, well, I guess your summer was for nothing, but I hope you had a good time. I don't know.
Yeah, just had fun. I mean, you gotta try stuff.
Right.
So you have assuming you have a daughter, right? Would you want her to play volleyball, go the basketball route? What are you thinking?
I'm obviously biased, so I would want her to be a volleyball player, and mostly because I would want to make sure that my daughter is a right side hitter, because that's what I want to be, but it's too late for me now. I'm too stuck in my position, so I would just like live through her in a healthy, positive way, but I would hope that she would want to play volleyball, but I'd support whatever.
Yeah, not for sure. Because I struggle with this all the time, and I'm like, Oh man, if I had a son, like would I make him try basketball? For sure.
Right.
Would I make him stay in basketball? I want to say no,
Right.
but we'll just leave it at that.
See, like, it'd be disappointing if they didn't. But also, like, youth sports are crazy for you to not be invested in it. Like, if I'm going to go through all that, especially like club volleyball, it's expensive. So if we're doing this, you better be locked in and you're going to college. We're not doing this for fun.
Facts.
Yeah.
Like, and that's another crazy thing too, is like my dad was a hockey player. He wasn't, he wasn't an NHL hockey player. He was played in college.
Yeah.
So like he understands the value of sports, and he was pushing me because I told him when I was like 9, I was like, Dad, I want to go to the NBA. And he was like, all right, bet. Didn't play another sport until middle school. I played football for a year, and that was like it. I was like, yeah, no, okay. I'm going to stick to this basketball thing and just see where it takes me.
Yeah.
So like it's interesting to see, players who their parents were also athletes, and like the importance of that.
Right.
And like it starts super early now.
Yeah, very early.
I mean, your brother, I already know he started early.
Yeah.
Early.
I was thinking about that the other day. I don't even know. My dad's been coaching him for years. So,
Well, like I remember working out with him when I was in like 5th grade, and he was in like 3rd or 4th, or like 2nd or 3rd grade.
that's weird that y'all are that close in age. I
Yeah.
feel old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. But yeah, no. So I mean, are you pressuring him to come here?
I am.
You
I
are.
told him if he goes anywhere else, I will be upset. Not really, but kind of. I went home this past weekend and I saw a letter from A&M, and I was like, don't even. We can't go to a rival school. That can't
A&M
happen.
is tough.
Yeah. So obviously I'm happy for him, and I want him to go wherever. Me taking him to the basketball game tomorrow might be another little nudge towards Texas, but
Yeah.
I hope he goes here. I'll support wherever, but I already have Longhorn gear, so it would make more sense.
It's hard to say no to here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
there's
what
not a
were your
negative.
other options?
My top 3 were here, USC, and Florida. And I visited USC first. I loved it. I was like, I'm definitely going to go here. Then I came to my Texas visit, and I literally canceled my Florida visit. I was like, I'm not even going to go. Yeah, I was dead set on Texas. So.
Yeah, I committed here on my visit.
Man,
I was just like,
ready.
nah.
Yeah.
Because I had gone to SMU and Boston College, and that was my top 3. And I was just like, I'd already been to both, and I was like, whoa, this is another level.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, Texas is awesome.
Yeah.
So Jay, if you're listening, come on home, bro.
Please.
Come on home, man. You already know where the spot is. So what's next for you? I mean, after this volleyball season, after you're out of here, what's next?
So pro volley is next, and it's kind of crazy because obviously you can't sign with agents until you're done with your eligibility. So I won't know where I'm going until like right when we're done playing, and then hopefully it's December 17th and we won a national championship, and then probably like 2 weeks later I'll be packing my bags to either go overseas or stay here. There's a brand new league in America that just started, and
I was going to ask you about that.
yeah, so that definitely looks very promising, and I would love to stay at home, well, like in America at home, and compete here. They have a lot of girls that are signed already that already graduated, so it looks really promising. But obviously starting something new, being like the first group is kind of, you never know how it's going to go. So it's like,
I mean, if they give you a deal that includes some equity.
Right. That's what I've been thinking of, and I've been talking to my parents about it. And if that was an option, that would be great.
Because I'm starting to see professional leagues do that with their players now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, that really, like, when you're talking about like professional recruiting or whatever that term is, like that equity deal is nuts. And I could see, a player like you signing for, you know, X dollar amount in equity.
Right.
And like, that would be really, 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 really cool to see.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So pro volley, and then either here or overseas.
Yeah.
After that, what are you thinking?
So I want to be an agent, but because of that, I've been thinking about law school, and I don't know if I'm actually going to do it. I said I wanted to go to UT's law school, which is even crazier because theirs is very competitive. But that is a goal that I have. Obviously, I would have taken a break from school for a while, so we'll see how I feel about school and law school at that time. But I'm definitely a competitor, so I feel like I would want to be as prepared as possible. And I mean, if I have a law degree from the University of Texas, like nobody could tell me anything, and I'm gonna argue everybody down. So,
I feel like that would happen anyways.
Yeah,
knowing
fair.
you,
Yeah.
I feel like you would get the job done.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that, and just continuing to like build my brand and discover and explore different avenues.
Just see where life takes you.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Asjia O'Neal, any closing remarks before we wrap this thing up?
No, I just appreciate you having me. This has been really fun.
Oh man, thank you. Thank you for coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule, because college athletics, we know it's a busy schedule,
Yeah.
and both of us being in season right now, like
Right.
I got a game tomorrow,
Right.
and you had a game yesterday. So I mean, no, it's very, very busy schedule. So I appreciate you taking that time out for me.
Of course.
Awesome. To all of the people watching right now, I want you to go and follow me and Asjia on Instagram and TikTok, which I will have the links down below in the description if you are watching on YouTube. If you are listening to this on Spotify or on Apple Music, be sure to go do the same. It only takes a couple seconds, so go ahead and get it done. And whether you're on the court or you're on the sideline, go with God and always do your best. Peace.